I've always felt support from my family, and that's why sometimes when I feel like I fail or I feel like I have a bad moment or I'm in a bad spot in my career, it's difficult for me to talk about with them because they believe in me so much. I didn't grow up with my parents. I grew up with my grandmother. My grandmother raised me from when I was 7. She came to one show. My grandmother only got to see me wrestle once. And I'll never forget it because it was in Manhattan. We were having a show in Manhattan. We were having this crazy show, and we won. And I remember looking out into the crowd, and all my cousins were there, and my grandmother was a very, very religious person. And I just look over, and she's like, "Hi, gracias. Hi, Dios mío." And I'm like, what is she doing? She was praying.
Wrestling is a business that requires a lot of sacrifice. That's why it's so important to have people who believe in you. Your loved ones go along on their journey. They'll start chants when the crowd is silent. They'll take care of you when you're hurt. And when you win the championship in a sold-out stadium, you'll hear their voices above the rest. These are the people who supported 7 women in their journeys in professional wrestling.
I don't know if she was praying because she was thankful that I had the opportunity, if she was praying for me to be safe. I don't know. It was just such a cool moment that I will always remember seeing that. She never got to see me wrestle again.
My stepdad, Pappy, as everybody else calls him, he was gung-ho. He is the most supportive person, like parent, that I know. Like, he's just like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He's like, I'm praying for you. That's all he would say. Like, nothing negative. He never rarely said anything negative. He was always like, I'm praying for you. He would never spill out what he feels because he felt like his opinion could sway me. He's like, I know that you put a lot of stock in what your parents say. He's like, so if I tell you to stop wrestling, you're gonna stop. He's like, but I feel like you just need that encouragement. Say, you know what? Go do what you want to do. But I'm praying for you.
My mother is somebody who's pushed me constantly, even though she was like very timid about the idea of wrestling and she didn't understand it. I talked to her about how I see this as a business opportunity and I see it as a way for other doors to open, not just for wrestling, but for other things, other interests that I have.
I think for the most part, my family knew that's what I wanted to do for a long time. And I think there was maybe even a little bit of guilt. So they were like, you're an adult, you can make your own choices, we can't tell you how to live your life. We'll support you as much as we can. They went out to all my shows when I first started. You know, I think my dad more than anything, like, I don't think he would have chose this for me necessarily. I don't think any parent would choose this for their child. But my dad like lights up and he's like, oh, my daughter, the wrestler. And he like talks about it. He like pulls up videos on his phone and he's like, see her? That's my girl. So they see that like I have this thing that lights me up inside. And they're like, that's beautiful.
My grandma, she's very supportive. But the first thing she said, she was like, how are you going to wrestle? You're small. I'm like, I'm gonna have to gain some weight, go to the gym. I can do this. He said, okay.
I can't believe this little girl is so strong. She's so ready for this. And I always thought that it would take forever to get those abs. She could be very strong. She could be very short, patient. She could get frustrated real easy. But all in all, she puts her all.
My mom has let me do whatever I want my entire life. She's never tried to influence me one way or the other. She's just given me advice and told me her point of view, and I think that's why we're just like this now. She's a serial entrepreneur, I guess you would say, because she's tried a lot of businesses over the years and she's tried to make something stick. She's done all kinds of things, and now she's finally found something that she's extremely successful in, which is wedding planning. And she's actually planning my wedding.
When I first started wrestling, everyone was like, you don't date in the business. It's like everywhere people say that. I think don't date in the business is okay advice. I think just be careful about who you date in the business. Wrestling is a lot about trust because you do put your life and like your body into someone else's hands and like vice versa. So it is always nice whenever you are able to do that with the person that you trust most of all. I met Rex the day I walked into NYWC, my first day of training. We've wrestled each other, like one-on-one, in tag matches, whatever. Like I've wrestled him every way I probably could, you know? Like we did a hardcore match together. I put thumbtacks in his mouth and like kicked him out and they like sprayed everywhere. That was fun.
My fiance is awesome. He's the love of my life, obviously, and he's the best. I feel like crying every time I talk about him because I love him so much. And I really credit most, if not all of my success to his advice in wrestling. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So I've been extremely lucky to have him around on this ride.
Cedric's gone Sunday through Monday. He gets back home Tuesday morning. I leave Tuesday night. I'm gone from Tuesday to Thursday. I get back home in the morning. So it's just like a interesting family dynamic. Like, I'm very fortunate that Odessa is very well adjusted. She understands. She's a very understanding kid. I couldn't have asked for a better child, really.
My mom actually passed away when I was 12. It kind of just put a tear to my eyes because this is something that my mom introduced me to. If she would have found out, she probably would have been shocked and probably happy that my daughter's a professional wrestler.
Well, looking at her when she was 8, after her mother, my daughter, had passed, and looking at her and just knowing where do we go from here? Is she gonna be happy? Is she going to be fulfilled? Is she going to, you know, do the things that she want to do in life? So to see this and to know that if she was here, she'll be so proud. She really would. I feel like it's a little bit of the Billie Eilish thing because they were showing her and she was home with her brother and this is where she write her songs and everything, and she was just home, and look at her. She's 17 and she's the biggest thing ever now. This is my Billie Eilish.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's. At first it was okay, and I would come visit. And every single day, when I would come visit her, she'd be like, when are you gonna be on TV? And then every single time I would visit her, when are you gonna be on TV? And in my mind, I was always like, oh my God, like I feel like there had to be points where I was even rude about it, where I was like, I don't know, like why do you keep asking me? Like I'm not gonna be on TV anytime soon. Like what are you doing? But then as I got older and I looked back on it, in her mind, I was a star. It just, I feel like in her mind, it just didn't compute. Like, oh, you're a freaking star. Like, you should be on TV. And by the time that I was on TV, where she could watch me, it just, like, she didn't understand.
You know, I've been looking forward to this matchup for a long time, ever since Marti Belle hit the scene here.
So it's been 3 years since she passed away.
One junction there.
This is her necklace and this is her ring, because I'm named after Marti Belle. It's Martina and Isabel. And it's my real name. My name is Marti Belle, but that's also where my wrestling name comes from, because I wanted to make sure I always had them with me.
Why would he do that? Yo le dije a tío que lo hiciera de crema y piña, crema y guayaba, él puso crema y ciruela.
So today, my family's getting together, part of my family, whoever's kind of in the area, we're getting together to celebrate my grandmother's life. It sucks, like not having her around for any of this stuff and knowing that like, if I ever have kids, my kids won't get to know her the way that I got to. But I know that she would be so proud. Like I know she'd be so happy that like made something out of myself, you know, like I'm just a kid from Uptown, you know? I'm just a kid from Uptown who dreamt big and continues to dream big and continues to chase those dreams. But I was very fortunate to have the family that I have that was very like, you got this, go ahead. We're getting together to celebrate her. And I think that's something that she would have really appreciated.
Gracias a Dios hemos mantenido la familia unida como yo le hubiera gustado. So, en honor de ella, partimos este bizcocho.